Today's video is going to be one filled with scandal and controversy, one that deals with sensitive and disturbing topics. Prepare yourself, as today we are going to dive into the life of Ghislaine Maxwell and explore a life filled with lies, deceit, and exploitation. Let's see who Miss Maxwell really is. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions. The voice you are currently listening to belongs to me, Lindsay Ivan, your voice of reason for today's video, which is who is Ghislaine Maxwell? But before I begin, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Life's Biggest Questions. With that being said, let's dive on into the video. Ghislaine Maxwell has been in the headlines lately following her arrest on July 2nd. She is accused of helping to recruit and groom victims known to be underage. But how did she get to this point? She went from a well-respected socialite to a woman who scouted and lured young women to give to Jeffrey Epstein. So let's explore her life as I share with you everything that we know about Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine was born into a very wealthy family on December 25th, 1961. She was the youngest child of 9 and was raised in a 53-room mansion. Her father, Robert Maxwell, was a British media proprietor, and he faced quite the amount of scandals as well. Her father's money provided her with status and allowed her to become one of the elite. In the 1980s, Ghislaine was a well-known member of the London social scene. She founded a women's club after the original Kit Kat Club. She also worked at the European, a publication that her father had started. In 1991, Ghislaine was sent to New York City to work as her father's emissary for the New York Daily News. However, in November of 1991, Robert Maxwell's body was found floating in the sea near the Canary Islands. It was said that he committed suicide, but Ghislaine was convinced that he was murdered and that someone pushed him overboard. After his death, it was revealed that he was defrauding his employees' pension plans. They also found discrepancies in his company's finances. There were reportedly over £440 million in pension funds missing, which left the Maxwell family members and the British government to repay the 32,000 people affected. He was then labeled as a fraudster, and he was even suspected of being a spy. After her father's death, this apparently shifted how she viewed the world. Ghislaine went back to New York to try and make a name for herself. Due to her father's scandal, she had to give up her life of luxury, only temporarily. She moved into an apartment with her friend and she worked at a real estate office for quite some time. Who knows how she did it, but eventually she became a well-known New York City socialite. She was then seen socializing with individuals like Ivana Trump. Soon, she began climbing the social ladder. We don't know how or when the partnership between Ghislaine and Jeffrey began, but cameras caught them attending parties together as early as 1992. But Maxwell was no stranger to scandal before she met Epstein. It is said that they dated for a few years before calling it quits, but clearly they remained close. One source believes that they broke up after she found out that he wasn't going to get married. In a report in 2003, Epstein referred to Maxwell as his best friend. Maxwell is the one person that knows more about Jeffrey Epstein than anyone. It's believed that her illegal affairs started as early as 1992. An ad was discovered where Ghislaine was hiring private yoga instructors. The ad read, "Full-time position offered in New York to teach a private individual. The job includes fantastic perks such as extensive travel. Call Miss Maxwell at," and then it gave Epstein's phone number. This was believed to be when the recruiting for young women began. The ad was posted in 1992, and the first alleged victim is said to have been in 1994. In January of 2020, a lawsuit was filed stating that back in 1994, the two recruited a 13-year-old student to engage in sexual activities with. It said that they sexually abused her for 4 years. She claims that both parties participated in the activities. Soon the pair took over New York's social scene and made connections with the Trumps, the Clintons, and even have been photographed with Princess Diana. They even had Prince Andrew in their close social circle, who is said to have also participated in these illegal activities with them. In 1995, Epstein renamed one of his companies the Ghislaine Corporation. Now, Maxwell claims that she wasn't on Epstein's payroll, but it was revealed that she took over running the finances of his many households, so the two were very close. So here's what we know about Maxwell and Epstein's affairs. Obviously, Epstein was arrested and charged with soliciting a minor for prostitution and with sex trafficking. But it's said that Maxwell acted like a pimp with these girls. She would find young girls, befriend them, and bring them to Jeffrey, and possibly others like Prince Andrew. She would mainly target economically disadvantaged women and use Epstein's wealth to win them over. Apparently, she also acted like a mediator. She would warm the girls up with the idea and groom them. If the girls were ever uncomfortable, she would be the one to reassure them. A victim came forward and claimed that Maxwell would call them her children. She would refer to herself as the mother. According to one of Maxwell's friends, during a billionaire's Christmas party, she was out scouting for young women. The friend claims that Maxwell said, and I quote, "Oh my god, look at these girls. I didn't realize that they're so beautiful. Can you introduce me to them?" She then proceeded to say, "I'd like to meet them because I know Jeffrey would like to meet them." And that's when her friend knew something was off. Maxwell would bring Jeffrey his girls, and some victims have come forward saying that she would engage in the sexual acts with them as well. In a 2009 lawsuit against Epstein, a woman named Virginia Giuffre claimed that Maxwell had recruited her to be a sex slave when she was just 16. Virginia met the pair at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. Maxwell introduced her to Epstein, and she claimed that she was, and I quote, "groomed by the two of them for his pleasure." She even received lessons in Epstein's preferences. Virginia had photos of herself standing next to Prince Andrew, who she said she also had relations with. Virginia said that at one point Maxwell gave her plane tickets to Thailand, where she was told to meet a young girl and bring her back to the US for Jeffrey and her. She continued to say that Maxwell and Epstein both trafficked other young girls at sex parties hosted by Epstein at his home in New York, Palm Beach, New Mexico, and the US Virgin Islands. But Virginia isn't the only victim to come forward. Maria Farmer claims that she met the pair at a New York art gallery reception in 1995. From there, they hired her to work on an art project for them at Leslie Wexner's Ohio mansion. That's where she was taken advantage of by both Maxwell and Epstein. In 2017, Sarah Ransom filed a lawsuit. She said that Maxwell hired her to give massages to Epstein, but then Maxwell threatened to harm her or destroy her career if she didn't go through with some sexual acts. Sarah said, and I quote, "Ghislaine appeared to be in charge of their activities, including what they did, who they did it with, and how they were supposed to stay in line." Maxwell had two sides, one that comforted these women and one that threatened them if they tried to leave. It was said that she was the enforcer. One time when Maria Farmer tried to leave, Maxwell threatened her. She told her to watch her back. She said, and I quote, "I know you like running on the West Side Highway. That's not a safe place for you anymore. There are a lot of ways to die on the West Side Highway." These threats made the victims fear for their lives. They felt like they were trapped. They were also subjected to other cruel punishments. One Swedish teenager had her passport taken away after refusing to have intercourse with them. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty to a felony charge of solicitation of prostitution involving a minor. He served 13 months in jail, although he was sentenced to 18 months. While Epstein was in jail, Maxwell continued to live on like nothing happened. She was seen attending social functions and tried to keep up her reputation. Eventually, she moved on to be a philanthropist. In 2012, she founded the Terra Mare Project, a non-profit organization that advocated the protection of oceans. She went around giving TED Talks about this issue. In 2016 though, she started to become more elusive. She wouldn't stay in one spot for too long, she would move between houses. She tried her best to remain out of the public eye. After Epstein's arrest in 2019, she disappeared completely. A source told The Sun, and I quote, "Ghislaine is moving locations every month to keep private investigators off her tail, and is staying at the residences of trusted colleagues and contacts. She even changed her phone number and registered it under the name G Max, and changed her email address and ordered packages with a different name on the shipping label. While in hiding, it said that she was spending a lot of time figuring out her defense and talking to her lawyers." Then on July 2nd, 2020, Maxwell was arrested by the FBI. She was charged with 6 federal crimes. She was found in a home in Bradford, New Hampshire. When the police showed up at her door, she ran into her bedroom, but eventually came out on her own. She immediately asked for a lawyer upon doing so. Now, no one knows what's going to happen from here. It's definitely going to be a long trial, and let's hope that justice gets served. Some say Ghislaine Maxwell is going to sell out everyone who participated in these illegal acts to save herself, while others believe that she is going to suffer the same fate as Epstein. That's all for today's video. Let's try and brighten the mood with our comment shoutout portion. I'll be shouting out more comments from my video, "Will Jenna Marbles ever return to YouTube?" RG96 commented, "What would have happened if the internet, memes, social medias, and smartphones had never existed altogether?" Well, the world would be a completely different place. I mean, I'd definitely be out of work and you wouldn't be watching this video right now. Sheila Gibson commented, "I'm so sad." Oh, don't be sad. Cheer up. I send you positive vibes, Sheila. Noah Dennis commented, "How many YouTubers are there?" A lot. And I mean a lot. Like I just googled it and they said that there are 31 million YouTube channels. So, a lot. It's crazy. And that's all the comments I'm shouting out for today's video. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in my next comment shoutout. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Life's Biggest Questions for more thought-provoking videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and stay curious, YouTube.